Welcome back, friends. Today we are learning about downsizing as a strategy for the organization to deal with economic downturns, uncertainty and unproductivity. So, up till now we have learnt as to what is downsizing, what are the methods available for downsizing, how our organizations can downsize, what are the reasons behind downsizing and what role does the HR management play in downsizing in the organization. So, now let us learn as to what is the support for effective employees. So, again this would be rather the HR's role in how to deal with downsizing, because there are two categories of employees when we are talking about downsizing or support for the employees. One are the people who are being removed, one are the people who are laid off, and the second are the people who are left behind. So, both these category of employees require support. So, let us talk about the support for affected employees. The first one is the severance packages that the organization might offer. So, the HR designs and administers fair severance packages including some financial compensation, extended benefits and even outplacement services to help departing employees transition. Then they can offer career transition support. So, HR may offer services such as resume writing, job search assistance and counseling to help affected employees find new employment. Then what is the support for the remaining employees? Because they too suffer a lot. It is not just the people who are leaving the organization are the only ones who are impacted by the decision of the organization, but the people who are left behind, they are also suffering due to number of reasons. So, let us understand. So, first one being morale management. So, HR plays a role in maintaining the morale and productivity of the remaining employees who may experience what is called the survivor's guilt, increased workloads and uncertainty about their own job security. So, as I have said that once people are leaving, the entire work is now distributed among lesser number of people, thereby increasing individual workloads. So, this might impact the morale of the employees, apart from having of course the survivor's guilt and uncertainty about our own jobs. Then second support is the training and development. So, HR may provide training to help remaining employees adapt to the new roles or increased responsibilities. Now that you are the one who would be performing more jobs, more tasks and your role might be changing, your responsibilities might be increasing. So, for that you need to be trained. So, that training and development part has to be taken care of by the HR departments. Then another function is that of rebuilding the organization. Now that you have laid off a number of people or you might have laid off an entire department, whatever the case may be, the organization now needs to rebuild itself. So, post downsizing, HR helps reorganizing the company structure, ensuring that the remaining employees are in roles that align with the company's revised goals and strategies. So, whenever you are reorganizing, at times the goals and strategies are also changed. So, now you need to align these people with the company's existing current changed goals and strategies. Then there can be cultural rebuilding as well. So, HR works to rebuild the trust and a positive culture within the organization by addressing the emotional and psychological impacts of downsizing. and then you need to monitor as well as follow up. You need to evaluate. So, HR can monitor the outcomes of downsizing to determine its effectiveness and whether it met the intended objective or not. Every downsizing has a particular purpose. So, you need to make sure whether that purpose has been resolved by downsizing or not, so that in future you can take necessary actions. Then you need to give continuous support. So, HR continues to provide support to both the affected and the remaining employees through ongoing communication, feedback sessions, and any adjustments if it is necessary. So, friends, we can clearly say and understand that the HR management's role in downsizing is multifaceted, encompassing strategic planning, legal compliance, employee support, and post downsizing reorganization. Their involvement is crucial to minimizing the negative impacts of downsizing on both the employees and the organization as a whole. So, what is the impact on employees? So, downsizing can of course have a significant impact on employees, both those who are laid off and those who remain with the company. The effects can be emotional, psychological, professional, leading to some long term consequences. So, let us discuss some of these potential impacts. So, what is the impact on the laid off employees? So, people who are being laid off. So, there can be emotional and psychological stress. Of course, one who loses his or her job would be having emotional downpour, psychological stress. So, being laid off can cause severe anxiety, depression, and a sense of loss. And employees may experience fear about their financial stability and the future career prospects. Then, for many, their job is tied closely to their identity and self-worth. So, as I said in the previous lecture also, that your job is just not another medium of earning money, but your job might be your identity. Your job is associated to your dignity, your self-worth, your self-esteem. And losing a job is not just losing a source of income, but it might mean losing your identity or your self-worth. So, losing a job can lead to a significant blow to your self-esteem and your confidence. So, these are the kinds of impacts that downsizing brings. Financial hardships, of course, this is the first and the foremost consequence of downsizing. Income loss. So, the immediate loss of income can lead to financial strain, especially for those with families or significant financial obligations. If you yourself are the only bread earner of the family, then it is a huge blow. Then health and benefits. So, laid off employees may lose their health insurance, other benefits which exacerbate the financial and personal stress. Career disruption is another detrimental impact on the employee. Career uncertainty, downsizing can disrupt career paths, forcing employees to reconsider their goals or even switch industries. Re-employment challenges are also there. Finding a new job, especially in a tight job market, can be difficult, leading to extended periods of unemployment. So, it is not that easy that you would get a new job in no time. You will have to work very hard, because at times you do not get the job as per your liking. So, re-employment challenges are also there. Then of course, there can be social and family impact. The family also is stressed if the member of the family is jobless. So, the emotional and financial stress of job loss can strain relationships with family members and friends. There can be social isolation. So, job loss can lead to feelings of isolation, particularly if social networks were closely tied to your workplace. Then, on the existing employees, there is an increased workload. Now, with fewer employees left in the organization, the remaining staff may be required to take on additional responsibilities, leading to increased workloads and potential burnout, because now the job or the responsibilities are distributed among lesser number of people. Pressure to perform would be there, so remaining employees may feel heightened pressure to perform well, fearing that they could be the next to lose their jobs. So, that uncertainty will always keep on haunting them. Then there is decreased morale and trust. We have already discussed about this, and apart from morale, yes, there is an erosion of trust also. So, downsizing can lead to a breakdown in trust between employees and the management, particularly if the process is not handled transparently or fairly. So, if there has been a communication gap, if the people have not been told about the why of the downsizing, or they have not been treated with dignity, then there can be an erosion of trust, leading to further reduced job satisfaction. So, the stress, the increased workload, loss of colleagues, this can lead to decreased job satisfaction and engagement, further leading to reduced productivity, reduced profitability for the organization. Career uncertainties, of course, employees may become preoccupied with concerns about job security, leading to a lack of focus and long-term planning. Then retention issues, talented employees may seek opportunities elsewhere if they perceive that the company is unstable, leading to potential brain drain. Now, what are the long-term effects of downsizing? The first one is the organizational loyalty. How does downsizing impact organizational loyalty? Downsizing would reduce employees' loyalty to the organization as they feel less valued and more expendable. There would be challenge in retaining the talent. So, over time company may struggle to retain top talent as employees may seek more stable opportunities. They would look out for organizations who stand by their employees, who do not lay off employees. So, as I said that it brings a bad reputation to the name of the organization, and it becomes difficult to retain and attract talented people. So, company's reputation as an employer may suffer, making it harder to attract new talent in the coming future. Though these were the detrimental impacts of downsizing, there can be positive outcomes also, because ultimately the organization is doing for bringing about positive outcomes. But these positive outcomes could be there only if the entire process of downsizing is managed properly, is managed well. And who manages these? It is the ultimately the HR professionals. So, what can be the positive outcomes? It gives opportunity for growth. Now that the job is to be done by the remaining employees, you get a chance to show your skills that you might not have shown up till now, because the team was large. So, in some cases remaining employees may have opportunities to grow into new roles, gain new skills and take on even some leadership positions, because now the size of the team has reduced. So, you might get a chance to take up a leadership role. Then of course, there is increased efficiency. If downsizing is part of a strategic realignment, it can lead to a more focused, efficient organization where employees are better aligned with the company's goals. Now, what is the impact on the remaining employees or the survivors? So, they suffer from what is called as the survivor's guilt. So they feel guilty about retaining their jobs while their friends or their colleagues were let go. This can lead to anxiety, stress, affecting their morale and productivity. Now let's understand as to what is the difference between a layoff and a retrenchment. So these are two terms that are often used synonymously, but there is difference between these two. So let's quickly understand. So layoff refers to a temporary suspension of an employee by the employer, whereas retrenchment is the permanent termination of an employee. Layoff is majorly occurring due to some financial challenge or temporary shutdown of the business, like we seen in during the times of COVID. But retrenchment is caused by a strategic approach necessary to reduce costs, downsize the company, or simply restructure the organization. Employees may be rehired when issues are resolved when they are laid off. So there are chances that they may be rehired. But when we talk of retrenchment, employees shall not be rehired if they are retrenched. That is the difference between these two. So as it is clear now that layoff is temporary in nature, whereas retrenchment is something which is permanent, because you cannot rehire a person who has been retrenched. So in layoff, you may or may not need to serve a notice period, but you must serve the notice period in the case of a retrenchment. Businesses may stop during the layoffs, but in retrenchment, business shall continue after declaration. So when you are laid off, you may receive severance pay or certain benefits. In retrenchment, you may not get any compensation or benefits. So let's quickly get through some examples of downsizing. So first one being the General Motors. So in the late 2000s, General Motors underwent significant downsizing due to the global financial crisis and its subsequent bankruptcy. This involved closing several plants and laying off thousands of workers. The second one is the IBM. So in the mid 1990s, IBM implemented a major downsizing strategy to cope with increasing competition and a rapidly changing, evolving tech landscape. And this included significant layoffs and the selling off of certain business units. So apart from laying off people, there were many business units also that were sold off. Then another example is that of Boeing. So in response to COVID-19 pandemic and the subsequent drastic reduction in the travel and the tourism, Boeing announced in 2020 that it would cut 10% of its workforce, and it did. The next was the Hewlett Packard, that is HP. So HP has undergone several rounds of downsizing in the 2000s and 2010, including a significant restructuring in 2012 that eliminated around 27,000 jobs. So you can see how even the big MNCs, big companies also opt for downsizing to restructure themselves to cope up with the challenges in the environment. So friends, today we have learnt about downsizing. So what is downsizing is to cut off the workforce when you are unable to meet the demands of the environment. There can be many reasons. The first reason is that you want to reduce the costs. Another reason could be you are relocating to another area. You are downsizing because you might think of that one particular department is too large and you are unable to manage that. So, in that case also you downsize, or you downsize because one particular department is not performing well. So, you reduce the number of people who are working there. So, there can be many reasons for which downsizing can be done. But more important than what is how you do it. And as HR professionals, it is important for you to understand that losing a job is not something that is taken up well by people. And job, as I said, is not just a medium of earning income, it is your self-respect, it is associated with dignity, it is associated with self-esteem. So, as effective HR professionals, you must undertake the entire process of downsizing in a very professional manner, which is ethical, which is understanding the emotions of the people whom you are letting go. Because ultimately, it is not only the people who are leaving the organization. Downsizing would have its impact on people who are remaining in the organization, because they too would feel the heat. They too would be impacted with one way or the other. So, the entire process has to be done keeping in mind the legal framework, the emotional and psychological impact it is going to have over people, and also committing to ethical concerns also. So, whatever you are doing, it should be done as a part of a strategic planning and not just to let people go. And try and resolve these issues, and downsizing is the option that should be the last to be taken up. So, if you have other options, go through them, explore other options, and only if you are not left with any other option, then you can maybe take up this as an option. So, as we said that there are impacts on all the employees, those who have left the organization and those who are remaining in the organization. So, those who are remaining would of course suffer from what is called survivor's guilt. They feel guilty about being retained in the job while their friends have left the organization, and due to that they feel stress, they feel anxiety, their morale is reduced, their productivity is also reduced. So, as an HR professional, you should be ready for this, because ultimately the employees who are left behind would also be suffering. Their productivity would also be decreasing. So, are you ready for these kind of repercussions or not? And what are going to be the long term implications of downsizing? So, you must be very clear as to what you are doing, how you are going to do it, why you are going to do it, how you communicate it to your people. So, that communication channel again has to be very strong. And are you addressing the grievances of your people or not? Because certainly when you communicate this to your people, people would be coming back to you with so many questions. So, are you helping them out or not? So, all these concerns have to be understood by the HR professionals when they bring up downsizing as an option. So, with this we come to the end of the topic of downsizing. We will continue with the voluntary retirement scheme in the next lecture. Thank you.